Students, Because of Mr. Terupt is a great new book at your spring book fair. The book starts off in September where we meet the characters. There's Peter. He is a prankster, he is a troublemaker, and he's always kind of cutting up. There is Jessica. She is the new girl, and she's somewhat shy, but she's very perceptive. There's Luke. Luke is very smart. He's the brainiac, but he's somewhat arrogant about being so smart. There's Alexis. Now, Alexis is a bully. She's the mean girl, and she starts the girl wars. There's Jeffrey. Jeffrey's very sullen and withdrawn, and you know something's going on, and you can't quite figure him out. There is Danielle. Now, Danielle is a little overweight, and she gets teased, particularly by Alexis, who's the bully. And then there's Anna. Anna is quiet, very shy, and there's something in her family background that kind of makes her the outcast of the room. These 7 students all come together under rookie teacher Mr. Terupt, and we start off and go month by month. Everything, we see the mysteries and we see the issues from home that kind of impact their behavior at school, but only when a prank by the students that results in tragedy for Mr. Terupt do we see the students kind of uniting to sort through all of the issues and try to unravel what's going on. Well, if you want a page turner from the very start to the very end, that on one page you're laughing and the very next page you feel like you want to cry, you will enjoy and savor this book from the exciting beginning to the very climactic end. I highly recommend Because of Mr. Terupt.
Boys and girls, do you love to read a great biography about an American hero? The story of Babe Ruth is at your spring book fair. Who was Babe Ruth? Well, he was a young man born in Baltimore, Maryland in the year 1895. He was part of a big but very poor family, and Babe, as he was known, often got into trouble. When he was only 7 years old, his father, tired of all of Babe's getting into trouble incidents, took him on a trolley car to a special school in Baltimore called St. Mary's. Here, about 800 boys lived and had to follow a very strict schedule. They had to study hard, they had to eat and do chores when they were told, and Babe really didn't like it there very much. But one of the teachers, a Catholic monk named Brother Matthias, loved to play baseball with the boys. And when he found out that Babe was a good player, he took a special interest in him. When Babe was 19 years old, Brother Matthias helped him get a tryout with the Baltimore Orioles. He only played with them a short while, though, and was traded to the Boston Red Sox. This was a great time for the Red Sox because Babe Ruth was a great pitcher and really great hitter. He was known for hitting home runs left and right. People loved to sit around their radio, they didn't have TV back then, and listen to the games if they couldn't go to the stadium. Babe, however, was a much better ball player than he was a husband or a father. Sometimes he was not very nice to people on the other team, to the umpires or fans of the other team. Babe sometimes liked to stay up late and party a little too much, but he was still a great player and even set a great record of hitting 60 home runs in a season. Several years later, he was traded to the New York Yankees, something that a lot of Boston Red Sox fans thought was a big mistake. Babe Ruth was a real legend of American baseball. If you want to read more about him, check out Who Was Babe Ruth?
The book Dark Life is a great new futuristic story, but instead of studying space, this takes place under the ocean. Our hero Ty lives below the ocean and has never lived on land. Life is good until one day a girl named Gemma comes below the ocean. She's a topsider and has never lived in the ocean before and is in search of her brother. Now at the same time, all kinds of bad things are happening at the mercy of Shade and the Sea Blight gang. They've been attacking homesteads on the ocean floor and attacking ships, and the government is upset and they want to catch Shade and his gang. They leave it up to the homesteaders to try and tackle this big effort. Ty and Gemma have to help and try and catch Shade and the Sea Blight gang. But there's a twist. Who is Shade and why is he doing what he's doing? You'll have to find out by reading Dark Life.
Girls and boys, The Candy Maker is a wonderful new book at your spring book fair. It starts off almost like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, except the name of the factory is the Life is Sweet Factory. This is a story about 4 12-year-olds that are in a contest to create the newest, most delicious, delectable new candy. Life is Sweet Factory's hosting them. There's Logan. Logan is the candy maker's son, and his father and grandfather both won this contest when they were 12. So family honor is on the line for Logan. There's Miles. Miles is very quirky, and he's always talking about the afterlife and some other unusual topics. There's Daisy. Daisy's the only girl in the contest, and she's all sweetness and happiness. But why does she sneak around the candy factory? Why does it always seem like she's talking to herself? And then there's Philip. Philip is uber competitive, he's arrogant, and he's very secretive, and he's always writing in his secret journal. He is determined that he is going to win the contest. Well, if you like a mouth-watering host of mysteries that all come out to a climactic end, you are going to love The Candy Makers. Savor this delicious treat.
Students, if you love a great animal story, you want to find Dog Whisperer Storm Warning at your spring book fair. This is the story of Emily and her dog, Zach. She rescued Zach when he was just a puppy, and they have become very close. They can almost read each other's minds. Zach, the dog, causes some problems, though, because he keeps escaping from the house and showing up at Emily's school. One day, their town, Bailey's Cove, which is up in Maine, hears that there's a possible hurricane on the way. Emily, who wishes her parents wouldn't be quite as strict, and her friend Bobby are worried about what might happen to their town. Do you get worried when thunderstorms, tornadoes, or hurricanes are on the way? If so, you want to read this great book at your spring book fair.
Do you wish that money grew on trees? I sure do. In the book, The Year Money Grew on Trees, the hero, Jackson, is tricked by his neighbor, Mrs. Nelson, into taking care of her orchard that has 300 apple trees in it. She says that if he can earn $8,000, she'll get that $8,000 and he'll get anything past that plus get the orchard. Well, he thinks this might be a good idea, plus he doesn't want to have to go work for a really weird auto repair guy. So he says yes, he'll do it. He convinces his cousins and his sisters to help him out in this venture, but he has no idea how much he does not know about growing apple trees. Well, they learn a lot and they work very, very hard, but will they be able to get the $8,000? And will he be able to get that orchard from Mrs. Nelson? You'll have to read the book to find out. in The Year Money Grew on Trees.
Students, if you enjoy books by Dan Gutman, you know, The Homework Machine, or his baseball card mysteries like The Babe and Me, or his My Weird School titles, then you are in for a real treat. On the Genius Files Mission Unstoppable, we meet twins Coke and Pepsi McDonald. Yep, you heard me correct. Coke and Pepsi are 12 years old and it's the last day of school. While there's a lot of things on the to-do list for Coke, such as, you know, clean out his locker, pack for summer vacation, clean out his backpack, jumping off a cliff is not on his to-do list, nor is pushing his twin sister Pepsi off the same cliff. Well, if you want to have a great spy thriller that takes you all across the United States, lots of humor involved, and get your Google Maps out, you are bound to love his newest Genius Files, Mission Unstoppable.
Boys and Girls, a great fantasy book at your spring book fair is called Lost Children. This is the story of 12-year-old Josephine Russing, who lives with her father, the owner of a glove factory. He has made a rule that everyone in the town must wear gloves all the time. Every week, Josephine gets a new pair. Her life is very, very lonely, and she spends lots of time at home by herself. Even when her father comes home, he hardly ever speaks to her. One day, Josephine looks outside and sees a boy standing back near the shed. When she goes out and looks at the boy, he says nothing, but he looks very hungry. Josephine brings him something to eat, but then he's gone. Later he returns, and Josephine follows him into the shed and falls through a crack into the land of Gom. There, Fargus, the boy, and his friend Ida tell her that the master, an evil man, is in charge of the land of Gom, and he is stealing children and putting them in deep holes. What is Josephine going to do when Fargus and Ida appear to have been taken and put in one of these holes? Will she be brave enough to help her friends and find her way back to her own home? A wonderful fantasy, The Lost Children.
In the story, The Fantastic Secret of Owen Jester, our main character, Owen, has moved in with his grandfather and is not very happy about it. He's left his friends and has moved to a new home where he doesn't know anyone except this girl, Viola, and he doesn't like Viola. Viola is bossy, she's nosy, and she knows everything. Well, Owen one night is laying in bed and he hears the train go by. It sounds just like normal, but then he hears a crash and a thud, and he wonders what it is. The next day he makes it his mission to discover what it is, and when he finds out what it is, it's amazing! But can he keep Viola from finding out about it, and what can he do with it? It's a great story, it's a big adventure. Owen Jester and his secret.
Students, have you ever heard the old saying that secrets can be kept by 3 people if 2 of the 3 are dead? Well, in Rules for Secret Keeping, we meet Samantha Carmichael. She's in elementary school and she has a great business. She passes on secrets for you. Drop $1 and your secret into her locker, and presto bango, she sends it to the right person, and she doesn't read the secret. She's very professional and she's excited. She's done quite well with her business. Middle school arrives, unfortunately for her, and she finds out that there is competition. Can another girl that has her own secret passing business and Samantha's secret business, can they coexist, or will the secrets get out? secrets that can't be controlled by these two gals. Well, if you like a great fun story with secrets and intrigues, you are going to love Rules for Secret Keeping at your Spring Book Fair.
Boys and girls, have any of you ever thought about becoming a writer when you're older? Our book, Moon Over Manifest, was written by Claire Vanderpool, and this was the first book she had written. It won the Newbery Prize in 2011, the book chosen to be the best children's book written in a particular year. The book tells the story of 12-year-old Abilene Tucker. The book takes place during the years of the Great Depression. Abilene's father has gotten a job working on the railroad. Jobs were hard to find back then, and he can't take Abilene along with him. So he sends her to stay with an old friend of his, a guy named Shady, who lives in Manifest, Kansas. Abilene arrives just in time to go to the last day of school, where she meets some good friends, Ruth Ann and Letty. The three girls discover a cigar box with letters that tell of a spy who used to be in the town. Wow! Wouldn't you love to follow up a mystery about a spy in your town? It's a great story, Moon Over Manifest, and it's at your Spring Book Fair.
In the story A Turtle in Paradise, the young girl named Turtle is living back in the 1930s. She is sent to live with her family in the Keys, in the Florida Keys. Her mother has taken a job, and the lady that she is working for does not like children, so Turtle can't live with her for a while. Well, she's not very happy about going to live with her cousins and her aunt and her uncle, but the cousins aren't very happy about her being there either. Well, they learn to get along. There's all kinds of very fun characters. Her cousins and their friends have great names like Kermit and Porkchop and Slowpoke. They even have a special gang they call the Diaper Gang, that they make money by taking care of people's babies, and they have a special secret that keeps all the babies happy. Well, can she become part of the Diaper Gang when she finds a treasure map? Will they want her to be part of it so they can find out her secrets? You'll have to read Turtle in Paradise to find out.
Students, are you a fan of animal series books like Warriors or Seekers? There's a new series called The Wolves of the Beyond at your Spring Book Fair. In the first book, Lone Wolf, a mother wolf gives birth to some wolf pups. One of them has a twisted paw, and the pack of wolves will not allow it to stay with the pack. An animal that is not strong will endanger the entire group. So this little wolf pup is taken to an icy riverbank and left by itself. Lucky for the wolf pup, he's strong enough to climb up the riverbank, where he sees a big grizzly bear. The grizzly bear has just had a cub that's been attacked and taken away. And when the little wolf pup comes up to her, she puts him in her big furry paws and pulls him close. He hears her heart beating and calls her Thunderheart. She names him Pheolon. Imagine a grizzly bear raising a wolf cub. Well, that's what happens in this first book. A wonderful animal story, followed by a second shadow wolf, when Phelan has gotten a little older and decided to join a wolf pack himself. If you love great animal series, make sure you check out The Wolves of the Beyond.
Quirky, witty, and fun would be terms I would use to describe the incorrigible children of Ashton Place. In The Mysterious Howling, Book 1, we meet the characters. There's Miss Penelope Lumbey. She's 15 years old, and she is the governess, and she is a recent graduate of the Swanburn Academy for poor, bright females. There's the three children. There's Alexander, and he's about 10. There's Beowulf, who's probably about 7. And then there's Cassiopeia, that's about 5. And they were found in the woods, and they were raised by wolves, howling and nipping and demonstrating all kind of wolf-like behavior. It's Miss Penelope Lumbey's job to transform these children into delightful, well-bred, well-mannered, and educated children that would be appropriate to live at Ashton Place. Well, if you love the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket and other quirky, fun books like School of Fear, you will absolutely be delighted with the Mysterious Howling and learning all about the incorrigible children of Ashton Place.
Students, if you love books like Roald Dahl or Fairy Tale Adventures, you want to check out The Rise and Fall of Mount Majestic. This book is at your spring book fair, and it's about a 10-year-old girl whose name is Persimmon Smudge. Persimmon lives on a large island called the Center of Everything, but it seems as though nothing exciting ever happens there. She actually lives on a hill called Mount Majestic, and Persimmon begins to realize that the mountain is moving up and down. She believes that the town is actually the stomach of a sleeping giant, and she and her friend Warvel, the warrior, have to convince the different people who live on the island that they've got to be quiet or they're going to wake up this giant. Well, some of the folks on the island, like the silly Rumplebumps or the very well-mannered leaf eaters, won't pay attention to Persimmon. Check out this funny adventure at your spring book fair.
Are you an NC State Wolfpack fan, or are you a Carolina fan? Maybe a Clemson fan or a USC fan? These are great sports rivalries, and if you like sports rivalries, you may like the world's greatest sports teams rivalries. It examines 5 of the most popular rivalries in sports. My favorite, I have to admit, is Green Bay versus the Bears. It tells you all the background on why they're rivals. Didn't ever know why myself, but now I know it has a lot to do with the original coaches of those 2 teams, Mr. Lambeau and Mr. Hallis. Those 2 men did not care much for each other, and they started the whole thing, which has just continued over the years. So, if you are extremely interested in sports and all the challenges that have come across with the rivalries, you may like World's Greatest Team Rivalries.
Boys and girls, have you ever had to move to a new town? In the Treasure Chest series, twins, 5th graders, Maisie and Felix, have to leave New York and move with their mom to a small town in Rhode Island. They are not very happy. They miss a lot of the exciting things they used to do in New York and find their new town very boring. They've moved into an old house that their great aunt owned. And with nothing else to do, they begin exploring all the rooms of the house. One of the rooms is known as the treasure chest because there are many odds and ends that members of their family over many years have stuck in this room, sort of like you might do in your own attic. The treasure chest is a magic room, and Felix and Maisie find themselves back in the year 1836, where they meet a young girl named Clara Barton. Have you ever heard of Clara Barton? Well, she became an incredible nurse during the Civil War. But in this book, she's still a young person. Maisie and Felix are amazed to find out that they are back in time. Can they find a way to get back to their home through the treasure chest? Well, if you want to find out, and if you love time travels, check out the Treasure Chest series at your spring book fair.